Hey everyone, welcome. We are making asparagus vichyssoise. Asparagus are a spring vegetable and they're beautiful, bright and green. We've got many spring vegetables for you today. One is gold and russet potatoes, celery, asparagus, leeks, and then some cream, broth, onions, and herbs to flavor it up. For your leeks, cut off the dark green leafy parts before you slice them. And remember to clean out all the dirt between the grooves and remove the outside peel and the bottoms with the roots. Add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter to a heavy soup pot. Over medium heat, these things will melt and eventually they'll start to form bubbles. Once you see the bubbles, you know that you're ready to add your vegetables. So we've got 1 stalk of celery sliced, 1 large yellow onion diced, and 2 cups of leeks sliced, roughly chopped, I guess. This is about 2 medium leeks. Mix everything up well, covering it in the oil and in the butter, and then remove any dark green parts that fell in. Add the lid to the top and let the vegetables sweat. It's like a veggie sauna in here. You'll notice the vegetables have reduced in size significantly. We started off with maybe 5 cups, and now we only have 2.5 at most. The vegetables will also become lighter and brighter in color, and the onions will become more translucent. Once your vegetables are ready, add your potatoes. I've got a cup of russet and a cup of golden Yukon. But you can use baby red potatoes instead of russet if you'd like. Mix everything well and add a quart of vegetable broth. I'm using original, but you can use low sodium if that is important to you. Give everything a good mix, making sure that your heat isn't too high and things aren't sticking to the bottom. We don't want to brown anything in this vichyssoise soup. Cover and bring to a boil. And let the potatoes boil for at least 10 minutes, but really it will depend on the size of the potato. Now we're going to be pureeing the soup, so they don't need to be uniformly chopped. They just need to cook thoroughly. And so I can tell just by the tenderness of the potato they weren't ready. So I'm going to put my lid on and boil them for another 2-3 minutes. Okay, so in total it took me about 13 minutes to boil the soup with the potatoes after I sweat out our onions and leeks. So I pierced the potato with a fork, bloop, and it went through perfectly. Now it's going to be time to add our asparagus. I used a whole pound of the asparagus. This was somewhere between 2.5 cups. Mix everything together until well combined. And then add your lid back on, and we're going to let this continue to boil, or simmer rather, for about 2 to 3 minutes. The asparagus should still be bright green. They shouldn't be dark green, that means you've overcooked them. And this will allow it to be just tender enough to blend. Okay, remove it from heat and let it cool down a little bit. I'm using an immersion blender, which I finally got. I'm so happy. I love it. It's the easiest tool. But if you don't have an immersion blender, you can do it in small batches in a regular blender. Just make sure you remove that hole at the top of the lid to let the heat escape. Cover it with like a cloth. Once it's blended and cooled down a bit, stir in half a cup of half and half. We don't need much more than that because it's not supposed to be a heavy soup. If you're trying to go dairy-free, you could use soy milk, maybe coconut milk. I even think silken tofu would be a great idea. But do this when the soup is really cool because you don't want to curdle the tofu. And then top with herbs. I'm using flat leaf parsley. You can use dill, maybe even sage, but parsley is a safe option. Okay, I love pepper, so I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. You can add more or less if you'd like. And then taste it to make sure that you don't need any other herbs or spices. I think it's fine, but my mom thought it needed just a touch more salt, so I added just a pinch. can always add, you can never take away. Okay, give it one final mix and then you can dish it up in your bowl and top with a couple more slivers of asparagus and parsley or dill or whatever other herb you're using and serve. So good. I hope you enjoyed our spring asparagus vichyssoise.
No.